Oh wow, this is cool. I feel like I'm a Formula One driver right now.
It's race week in Las Vegas, and the 2024 Las Vegas Grand Prix has finally arrived. The Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix is one of the most complicated and expensive operations the city of Las Vegas has ever taken on. It's become one of the most controversial and polarizing races in the Formula One season. I decided to channel my inner Formula One driver and drive the Las Vegas Grand Prix circuit for myself. So jump into my passenger seat and let's take a spin around the track. Along the way, we'll discuss the complexities, the economics, and the logistics of this massive event. Is the Las Vegas Grand Prix one of the most impressive race events ever produced, or is it just a big mess? Stick around to find out.
I'm Blake Pullen. Welcome to Planet Vegas.
The inaugural Las Vegas Grand Prix was held in 2023, so it's a fairly new addition to the Las Vegas entertainment scene. But Formula One's history in Las Vegas actually goes back to the early 80s. The Caesars Palace Grand Prix was actually the first Formula One race to take place in Las Vegas, and it was held annually from 1981 to 1984. It was only a Formula One race for 1981 and 1982, and then Formula One pulled out of Las Vegas and it became an IndyCar race for the next 2 years. The racetrack was actually laid out in the Caesars Palace parking lot every year, so it was essentially a temporary track. Historically, this race is largely considered a failure. It was an awkward track layout. The drivers generally hated it. The high temperatures in Las Vegas at that time of year made the race a real strain on the drivers, and attendance was generally very poor at these races. So after 2 dismal years of the Caesars Palace Grand Prix, Formula One pulled out of Las Vegas and has not been back since, until 2023. And while you could argue that the 2023 Las Vegas Grand Prix was considerably more successful than the Caesars Palace Grand Prix of the early 80s, it's still a very polarizing race. A lot of the locals are not happy about it. There's a lot of debate about whether or not this race is financially viable. A lot of the drivers have mixed feelings about the course. It's a very polarizing race and probably the most controversial race in the Formula One season. Rather than taking place on a dedicated racetrack, the Las Vegas Grand Prix takes place on the streets of Las Vegas. The most featured street, of course, being the Las Vegas Strip. Now, the logistics and the complexity of shutting down the Las Vegas Strip and surrounding streets for a road race are massive. And when it was first announced, a lot of people were very skeptical that Formula One and the city of Las Vegas could actually pull this off. Well, they did. In 2023, they pulled off a successful race with a few hiccups, but by and large, it went reasonably well. And Formula One and the city of Las Vegas have announced a 10-year commitment. So unless the plan changes, the Las Vegas Grand Prix is going to be around every year for at least a decade in Las Vegas. But let's go ahead and get started on this racetrack tour, and we can discuss more of the ins and outs, the complexities, the logistics, and the controversy while we drive.
So here in Las Vegas, the Formula One race, the Las Vegas Grand Prix, starts tomorrow. Qualifying starts tomorrow. So the track is all finished, and I'm on my way to drive the Formula One circuit. You can't drive every single part of it, but you can drive most of it. It's open to public traffic during the day because the course is just on the streets of Las Vegas. So I'm gonna go drive it, give a little bit of a tour. We'll check it out. So the Formula One paddock that they constructed, which is where the finish line is and where the race starts, is just east of the Las Vegas Strip. And it's approximately at the cross streets of Koval and Harmon. And that's the only part of the race course that's not on the public streets. The rest of this circuit for the Las Vegas Grand Prix is actually on the streets of Las Vegas. with the big straightaway, of course, being on the Las Vegas Strip, which is pretty cool. All right, so you can see we're approaching the Formula One circuit. You can see right ahead of me here where all the infrastructure is for the lighting. It is a nighttime race, so they have to put up scaffolding around the entire track so that the track is fully lit at night. So you can see here we're actually driving onto the public road, but the part of it is the course. Oh wow, this is cool. I feel like I'm a Formula One driver right now. What a gargantuan effort it must take. Of the 3 nights of the race, 2 nights of qualifying and then the actual race, they keep the roads open until roughly 5 or 6 p.m. And they take all of that time to shut everything down, block off all the entries to the race course. And then of course that creates a loop that it's more difficult to get inside that loop of the track. Now they have ways to do it. They have temporary bridges in place, both pedestrian and traffic bridges, but not many. And that's been one of the big complaints from the locals, is it's a real cluster getting in and out of here around race time. And for the few months leading up to the race, they have to put all this structure in place. It's a long process. I'm not sure exactly how long it is, but it takes 2 or 3 months. So Formula One is very controversial around here. A lot of the locals are not thrilled with it. The economics of the race in Las Vegas aren't entirely clear. Some reports say that it's brought a lot of money into the economy. Others argue that it has not, and that's kind of mysterious. Those numbers are hard to pin down, depending on who you ask. But either way, it is a massive effort shutting down the Las Vegas Strip to have a Formula One race. It's impressive.
So let's take a brief moment to discuss the economics of Formula One in Las Vegas. The 2023 Las Vegas Grand Prix, according to a report that was released by Clark County, had an economic impact of $884 million. Now that's a staggering amount of money. If that's true, clearly the economics of this race for Las Vegas are very positive. I think where the controversy comes in is a lot of smaller businesses and businesses based on the Strip were left empty. And a lot of the infrastructure changes and road closures that happen affect a lot of the businesses around town. And some of them took pretty big losses. So while the economic impact may be great overall for the city, there are some businesses who take a pretty big hit when Formula One is in town, and that's where the controversy comes from. The road closures necessary to pull this off start happening 2 or 3 months before the race. So it also disrupts bus routes. It disrupts people's routes getting to and from work, particularly in the tourist corridor around the Las Vegas Strip. So it also has an effect on people's daily lives, the people that live here in Vegas getting to and from work. And that's another source of controversy among the citizens of Las Vegas.
So currently we're driving up Harmon, and this is kind of the back straightaway for the race. The paddock is going to be up here on our left. You can see the grandstands here on the left. There's a whole bunch of them, and then up in front of us. So we won't be able to drive down this, but you can see the course will curve off here, and that's where the paddock and the finish line and everything is right here on Koval.
So at this point in the tour, since the public can't drive through the paddock area, I had to leave the circuit and kind of take a detour and kind of go the long way and then drive back down and join the circuit where it was back on public streets. So during the detour, let's chat about a few things and we'll get back onto the track tour shortly.
It's about 3 in the afternoon here in Vegas, the day before the start of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And it's not quite rush hour yet, but I will say all of the infrastructure they have to put in place for the Formula One track definitely causes traffic congestion down here. This is a congested part of town anyway, so anytime you come down near the Las Vegas Strip, you're going to see some traffic, but I think it's fairly clear that it makes things a little more congested. There's a few road closures that are permanent or semi-permanent during the couple of months that they're setting up for the race. And then of course there's the full closures that they do at night when it's time for the race. They shut it all down completely, but I think most locals, unless they have to work down here, most locals will kind of stay away from the Strip area during Formula One just because it's a mess and prefer not to be around it. I think I got behind the wrong guy here. This guy's not waiting to turn left on Flamingo. He's waiting to turn into this driveway. Oops. That's all right. I would have been waiting in this line anyway. One thing that's always bugged me about traffic in Las Vegas is our stoplights here are so long. I don't know why that is, but ask anybody who lives in Vegas or who has spent much time here. Our traffic lights go on forever. I don't know if there's a timing mechanism that's set. I'm not sure who makes the decisions that determine how long the traffic lights are gonna be, but they are so long here. I don't understand it. I've never seen anything like it, and I've been in a lot of cities. I've driven in a lot of cities, but Vegas has got to have the record for longest traffic lights. Don't ask me why. Now you can see up here on the left, this is a temporary traffic bridge. That road up here on our left is completely temporary, and that is so traffic can get in and out of the circuit while the race is going on. Because obviously there's a ton of hotels and restaurants and shopping and attractions and all this infrastructure that's inside the loop of the circuit. And so while the race is going on, obviously you can't cross the track. And so that's what that's for. That allows employees and tourists and whoever else needs to get in and out of the circuit during race time when they've got roads closed off. This is one of the places you can do it by using this temporary traffic bridge. They also have temporary pedestrian bridges that allow you to access the inner part of the circuit on foot. It's impressive. It's really impressive the way they've handled all this. All right, so here we are finally. You can see the temporary traffic bridge up here on the left. That's what allows cars to get in and out of the circuit during the race. I'm gonna turn right on Koval, which is going to get us back onto the actual track. And so the paddock, where the start and finish line and the pits and all that is directly behind me. And I am now driving down Koval. And you can see I am just off the track. So traffic going the other direction right now is actually inside the race course, but traffic heading this way, obviously we have to be just outside it. That's just the way that they've set it up. The track's pretty thin at that point, so there's probably not enough room to get traffic inside the circuit going both ways there. But you can see all of the scaffolding and the lighting up here on the left. So once again, the actual race course is just on the other side of these orange barriers here on my left-hand side.
Let's rewind for a second. Look on the right-hand side of the road here. Do you see these apartments? The Las Vegas Grand Prix takes place at 10 p.m. on a Saturday night. And this is a straightaway, which means these cars are reaching speeds of up towards 200 miles an hour. And if you've ever heard a Formula One car, they are incredibly loud. Can you imagine countless Formula One cars zipping by while you're trying to get some sleep on a Saturday night? I hope they're not early to bed folks who live here. At least it's only one time a year, I suppose. So at this point on the circuit, there's one more section. It's a section of road that loops around the sphere. And while those are public roads, they are completely closed off to public vehicles during this time of year. So I had to take one more detour and rejoin the circuit after that.
I'm gonna take a right now onto Sands, and this is officially part of the course again. I'm going the opposite direction that we have been going, just so we can see it. You can see the Las Vegas, the sphere is on the right here. I'm gonna get up here and turn around where I can, just so we're going the same direction. But obviously, this is also part of the course. We're just headed the opposite way. So I'll turn around as soon as I can to get us back to the rest of the course, because we're kind of exiting the circuit again here. It's pretty impressive the way they've got it all laid out so that traffic can still move in and out of this area. And then they close it up at night for the races, which is pretty cool.
One U-turn later.
Another great view of the Sphere on the left, and of course you can see the Las Vegas monorail track as well that runs in the center here on the median. But just through there you can see the Sphere, one of the great visuals. The visuals on this thing at night, if you watched the Las Vegas Grand Prix on television last year, the visuals are just stunning on this thing, which obviously that's why they wanted it to be a nighttime race. I mean, you can't beat the visuals of the Las Vegas Strip at night. Probably worth all the effort they had to put in to completely light the track. Okay, so we're officially kind of rejoining the circuit here. Going to turn left onto the Las Vegas Strip when I get up here, and that's the big long straightaway for the race where cars can reach up to, it's 200 miles an hour plus. I feel like it's 215, 220, something like that at the top. And it's actually one of the, because of that long straight, it's actually one of the fastest races in Formula One. I think there's another race that's a little bit faster in terms of top speeds and average speeds, but this is the second fastest race in Formula One, as I understand it.
Studio Blake here. I'm going to chime in and mention something that I forgot to mention while I was driving the track. You'll notice that the road surface is very dark and very smooth. That is actually a very specialized pavement and surface that they use specifically for Formula One. It's designed for these race cars, and so they repaved all of these streets all over Las Vegas for year one, and that took a long time and a lot of money, and it resulted in a ton of road closures and a lot of traffic problems. And so that's another thing that caused a lot of controversy and was very upsetting to the locals. Now that that surface is in place, it's supposed to be good for a number of years, and so they didn't have to do it again this year, thankfully.
Noticed in Formula One, they always have these additional extensions whenever there's a big corner. I don't know what they call them because I don't know Formula One that well. If you're a Formula One fan, maybe you can tell me in the comments, but it's always like a little emergency in case you miss the corner and you're going too fast and you can't make the turn. They have kind of these little extra bits of road that you can drive into to avoid a collision. So you can see one of those in front of us there. This is a left turn on the course, but you have an additional 50 to 100 yards of straightaway that will remain open there for the cars that overshoot this turn. That allows them to safely come to a stop. This is the main straightaway for the Las Vegas Grand Prix right here. And in my opinion, the coolest part of the race course. I've driven down it a time or two when I was down here for other things, but yeah, pretty great. Boy, can you imagine zipping down this straightaway at 200 plus miles an hour? It must be incredibly exciting to move that quickly in a car. So we're approaching the area where in last year's race, during the first night of qualifiers, that one of the Ferrari drivers actually had a collision. He actually hit a little manhole cover that was in the road, destroyed the car, pulled him out of the race. Kind of controversial, also delayed the race and took several hours for them to get everything going again because they had to fix that, make sure it was safe. Ended up having to send all the fans home that night because the staff was all going on into overtime. They couldn't work them anymore. So needless to say that a lot of fans were pretty unhappy on that first night. The rest of the race weekend went fairly smoothly as far as I know, but that was kind of one of the memorable events from the debut of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Something that I've heard about this race in particular is relative to a lot of Formula One races, there's a lot of passing. People can overtake a lot. And that's not always the case in all Formula One races. In some Formula One races, my understanding is if you get the pole position, if you get to start the race in first, a lot of times you can keep first, particularly with Monaco, from what I understand, because the race in Monaco, the roads are very thin. There's just not a lot of room to pass or overtake. This track, because of the way it's designed here in Las Vegas, allows a lot of overtaking, which makes for a more exciting race, actually. So the drivers did complain a lot about the conditions last year. It was cold. They're not accustomed to racing in climates that are quite this cold. The road was a little bit dusty. It took them a while to sort of warm the road up so that their tires could grip more. Like I said, I'm not a Formula One expert, but this was my understanding from what the commentators were saying about the race. I think this straightaway, particularly because it's so long, allows a lot of overtaking. And you can see it's, for regular traffic, it's 3 lanes wide. For Formula One cars, it's probably more like 4 or 5. I'm not sure exactly how wide Formula One cars are, but there's plenty of room to pass here or to overtake. So a lot of the overtaking probably happens on this straightaway, which I'm not sure exactly how long it is. I'm gonna put it on the screen, but I know that this straightaway is at least a mile long. It could be longer than that. So plenty of opportunity for drivers to pass each other on this straightaway, which obviously gets them up to pretty exciting top speeds. Some iconic Las Vegas casinos. We got the Bellagio here on the right. There's like a big VIP kind of viewing area here on the right where people can buy VIP packages to view the race with private boxes and all that stuff, which actually blocks the view to the fountain this time of year. So
let's hit the gas on the last little stretch of the Las Vegas Grand Prix circuit here. And that wraps up our tour of the racetrack. Formula One is a rich person's spectator sport. While all different financial and socioeconomic levels are fans of the sport, the rich particularly spend a lot of money attending Formula One events, following Formula One. People spend millions of dollars to attend a single event. So it's clear that Formula One brings a lot of money into the city of Las Vegas. The question is it worth it? I suppose that depends on who you ask. One thing is for certain, though. We have 8 more years to argue about it. Thanks for watching this episode of Planet Vegas. If you enjoy my work, could you please like, comment, and share this video? And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. It really helps the growth of the channel. I'm Blake Pullen, and we'll see you next time on Planet Vegas.